The Bible is written in an African context and from an African perspective, namely in the personage of Moses. However, due to the evolution of Western civilization, namely Greek and Roman, the African diaspora has accepted basically the ideas of the Greeks and the Romans. Therefore, when we look in the Bible, we see things like metaphor and hyperboles and allegory. This part of the Bible is poetry, and this part is symbolism. By dividing the Bible into these different types of writing, this has helped us to determine the meaning of a particular text. However, I'm afraid it's not that simple. You see, the ideas of these types of literary divisions was first given by Aristotle, a Greek from the other side of the Mediterranean Sea. This means that the ideas or the literary genres that we actually depend on to determine meaning, in many ways, is foreign. Moses did not write in that context. Moses writes about the 15th century BC. Aristotle will not write his book on poetics until the 4th century BC. This means that Moses wrote 1,000 years before Aristotle determines these ideas of literary works, the literary genres. That is to say, we cannot accept at face value Aristotle's works in poetics. We must go back and we must look at Moses' genre. When Moses writes, he writes under a system that is best described as the sacred. We need to understand the Bible in terms of the sacred, not necessarily only the poetics of Aristotle. When we start to look at the Bible in its original context, we will be better suited to be able to determine the meaning of the text and therefore understand what was originally intended. You see, when Moses writes, every Bible writer that follows Moses will follow in his footsteps in the way he writes. Everything is measured from the standard of Moses. Anyway, this actually makes some sort of sense. They keep in connection to Moses the way Moses writes, they write the very same way.